Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up, guys? Team Rival here. Yeah, sorry I haven't made a video in a while. It has been way too hot to make videos. I'm sorry. I don't have AC in my room, so I sweat my balls off when it's like 110 degrees outside. Not really, but with the heat index, it was about 105, 75 degrees at night. Muggy as hell, so I was trying to stay cool in any way possible. I was not trying to get, angered up over a whole bunch of shit. But I did play games, and I did beat a game that I've been looking to beat for a while. Valkyrie motherfucking Profile. Yeah, that's right. In the flesh, an actual PS1 copy, that courtesy of Mr. Diglio. Thanks, Mr. Diglio. This was with the first year I actually knew him, he bought me this or gave me $60 towards it because it is a rather expensive game. Doesn't live up to the hype. Oh, by the way, new corner of the room, I took some posters down on that wall because they kept on getting blown down by the massive amount of fans. I have in my room, I have 3 fans. So yeah, this is more video game affiliated anyway, so I got my PS1 games, yada yada yada, a whole bunch of cool stuff, Death Smiles. So yeah, Valkyrie Profile. Is this worth $80? Huh. That's a difficult question, I think, and I think you have to be a very specific type of RPG player to really think this is worth $80. Me personally, solid RPG all the way through. I really enjoyed it. The music was great. Beautiful, the most beautiful hand-drawn graphics I have seen in a damn long time. I would take these hand-drawn graphics over the most high-tech, high-definition, absolute, over-the-top, just great graphics that they could give nowadays. Maybe that's just the retro gamer inside of me speaking, but not worth $80, I think, in my opinion. And here's why. Okay, so let me give you kind of the premise of the game. You play as it's loosely based around North, and I mean very, 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 very loosely based around Norse mythology. You play as a Valkyrie named Lenneth, who, she used to be a person, like an actual human, in her prior life, but then her memories were erased, and she became the Valkyrie. So there's a war going on in the world that they are in. There's a whole bunch of different types of war. I think they're an Aesir or something like that. But, the gods are fighting the people from the underworld and, like, another faction that pretty much doesn't even, have any sort of relevance in the story. And your job as the Valkyrie is to recruit members for your party, pretty much. So that's pretty much what you essentially do, spend the whole game doing. There's 8 chapters, you have a certain amount of periods to do it, and you just need to go to different towns and recruit people. The game is linear, but it's non-linear, and let me describe that. Here's how it plays out. Alright, so let's say Chapter 1 just started. You already have the whole world map already laid out to you. You can't go anywhere. It's not, you're flying in the air, so it's not like there's any sort of really, sort of place to go. You're on the world map, and you hit start, and start is it's like this concentration sort of thing. And you'll hit start, and then this little scene will start where she's rotating, trying to find, where's the next party member gonna be. And let's say it'll show a town, and then a town will pop up on your map, and then you can access that town. And to go into that town, you have to expend a certain amount of the periods you have. It's 24 period. 24. You have 24 periods, I guess. I don't know what's the measure for a period aside from a period. And you have 24 per chapter. So I forget the math, but whatever, doesn't matter. And so you go into that town, and then you witness a scene, and the story is absolutely one of the strongest points of this game, I think. But damn, does this game make me emo, just really kind of damn, I kind of hate society. Because what will happen is pretty much you'll just see a scene of let's say you have this guy, and he's in the army or whatever, and you'll see some way in how he dies, and there will be some, it won't be the most corrupt sort of death, there will be some sort of justice behind his death, as to where, that'll give the Valkyrie a reason to recruit that guy or gal for the party. So yeah, these scenes, they were not like, this game is not Final Fantasy X, like, happy, go-go, lucky, happiness. No, this game is, like, just makes you very upset, and not upset in terms of, like, bah, like, you're crying and shit, but it's just not, you don't want to play this game if you're suicidal, because it'll just put you over the top. But, okay, so you recruit the person for your party. Good, great, grand, wonderful. 4 people per party. Alright. How the battles play out. So, yeah, you'll do that concentration thing again, and now a dungeon will pop up. That's usually how it goes. You can recruit a character, you go to a dungeon, recruit a character, go to a dungeon, recruit 2 characters, go to a dungeon, and then, you know, the period's over or whatever. I always had a little bit of time towards the end of the period. They're pretty fortunate with that, so you can kind of, you know, you'll have a few, unless you really, really suck at this game, which I didn't at all. I played on normal and died, I think, on the final boss once or twice, so yeah, not a hard game, but yeah. So you'll go to a dungeon. And combat, another really, really strong point in this game, I think. So you have 4 people in the party, and it plays out kind of like an action RPG, except with it's turn-based, essentially, more or less. In that you have 2 types of characters, essentially. They kind of break down a little bit more, but you either have your physical characters or the mages. Mages are exactly as such. They cast magic, you can teach them magic spells, and all sorts of stuff like that. And they can only go as, you know, they have like little bars on the bottom, and once the bar, you know, empties, then they can cast magic again. Otherwise, they can sit there, or you can, like, teach them a skill to attack, whatever. And then, so, how you make these characters attack is you use the 4 face buttons. So, let's say I have, you know, the Valkyrie set to square, I have the mage set to circle, and then I have 2 other assault characters set to triangle and X. So, the order in which you press the buttons is the order in which the characters attack. And that's pretty cool, because I think it really makes you strategize. Why does it make you strategize? Because you want to build up your combos. There's like a little hit counter on the bottom, and the more hits you do, the more, kind of like Radiant Historia, the more hits you do, the more damage you're doing. And there's also another bar. It's this little like green energy bar, and you want to get that up to 100%. And the only way to get that up to 100% is to hit with the characters consecutively enough as to where the bar won't drop, you know, because if you wait between characters attacking, the bar is going to drop back to 0, and you're not going to be able to do what is called, it's like just some sort of special attack. I forget the name for it. I think that it was like PWS or something like that. It was some weird, it didn't really make sense, but I'm just going to call it a PWS attack, an ultimate attack, pretty much. And what it is like, it's just like a special attack. It'll show like a little scene, and, you know, depending on the power of your weapon, you'll be able to, it'll show the power of the attack. So you'll do that like a little attack, and the way the power of these attacks is determined is by what type of weapon you have equipped. Because you can either have the weapon hit once, twice, or 3 times. Depending, you know, later on in the game you'll get the 3-hit weapons, you know, middle of the game 2-hit weapons, beginning of the game 1-hit weapons, pretty much. So yeah, that'll help determine the power of the attacks and stuff like that. And combat, solid. Like I said, it really makes you think, and it really makes you strategize, because you not only want to, you know, pick the best guys that'll be able to, you know, their attacks will be able to mesh well together, is that you also have to find out the right order for their attacks, because you can also switch the order in which how they attack, you know, what attacks they use, each individual characters, if they're using 3 attacks, and, you know, the order in which each individual character attacks, because you don't want to be because you can miss, and you will miss pretty frequently in this game, just from whatever, just from, you know, it's inevitable for you to miss and miss frequently in this game. The game kind of plans for it, because you'll be very powerful, but, you know, when you connect, you'll do a lot of damage. But when you miss, there isn't really that much of a repercussion for missing, fortunately. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how the battles play out, more or less. You can also, you know, hit select and change your magic and your equipment and stuff like that, and use items. So, yeah, combat, great, strong point in this game. I keep repeating this whenever I review an RPG, but combat, for me, is always the one of the most essential things. I will play a game with a mediocre, I have played games with mediocre stories. Right off the top of my head, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Such a mediocre story, but the battle system was just fantastic. RPGs need to have good combat systems, because you are going to spend 40 to 75% of the time in the fucking combat system. Are you not? You're either going to be on the world map, in combat, or watching a scene. So, yeah, combat needs to be solid, because that's why you're playing the game, is for the combat. And so, okay, another thing about this game is there's no merchants or anything like that. And how do they fix that? Another kind of cool thing is that you are given, per, like, chapter you complete, you are given a certain amount of, they're called material points. And what you can do with those material points is you can create items, because there are no merchants, and I mean no merchants. You can create items, you can create, fuck, I got an itch in my head, it's really fucking annoying me. But anyway, you can create weapons, you can create armor, you can create magic attacks, you can create accessories, pretty much whatever you want using these material points. But of course, you only have a certain amount of material points. And you can also convert, you know, old items and things you don't want. Pretty much anything you don't want, you can convert back into material points. So that's kind of how you work back and forth with that. I never really had to convert any items into material points. I was always pretty fucking stacked, because I'm a beast at RPGs and I don't suck. So, in that regard, that's pretty cool. And there's also something called divine items, which is like, if you have an item, you can like change it into a different item. So that was kind of how I made some of the better equipment in the game, was through divine items. Didn't, you know, past a certain point of the game, I didn't really it's called transmutating. That's what it's called when you use the material points to create weapons, I think. And I didn't really use that function too much. And so, I mean, that was pretty cool. You know, it was different from just going to towns and, you know, going to merchants and spending money, because it was like you had money, pretty much, because that's what material points were. But it wasn't like, you know, from every single battle you completed, you were getting money, just accumulating money. No, you pretty much had a set amount of points, and you had to kind of think across the whole terms of a chapter, how you wanted to spend them, unless, you know, had a shit ton of equipment, like I did, as to where you can just convert it into MP and be good money. So, okay. So why isn't this game worth $80? A 30-hour game. I beat the game in 30 hours. I got the best ending. I got as many of the characters as I could possibly get. I got all the characters, I think, except for, there's one you can only get if you play on hard. It's just, I think it's just one of those instances where it's a rare game, and it wasn't mass-produced, which it wasn't mass-produced. I don't have an exact figure on me, but there wasn't a, you know, it wasn't a big seller. It's a great game, don't get me wrong. There's the PSP remake. I think you should get, not the remake, but just the PSP port, like upgrade, sort of, however you want to call that. But it's not $80. You're not getting $80 of content in this game. There's very little reason to go back and play it. I will play it, I think, eventually one day. I will say that. I will play it eventually one day again, because I really enjoyed my playthrough of this game. I would like to try it on hard and see how I stack up against some of the harder bosses, because I had just such ultimate equipment towards the end of the game that, like, pretty much nothing stood in my way as long as, you know, I knew how to fight it, which, you know, you could usually figure out and set that up. But there's little to no side questing. You're pretty much just stuck on the main story, more or less. That's why I said it was linear, but it's not linear, because, you know, you can use that concentration thing, and you can find everything out of the map before you even, you know, use a chapter. And the order in which you want to complete those things is completely up to you. You know, you don't have to get every single character, you don't have to go to every single dungeon, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of things you want to make sure you're doing everything. Me personally, I just do everything because, you know, I'm not the type of person that cut corners, especially in an RPG. I like to do side quests, I like to do as many things as I possibly can. And this game didn't really allow for it, and I was a little bit disappointed by that. But I thought overall it was a pretty solid title. Really, if I had to put a price tag on this, $30 to $40, maybe even $50, I think. This is not a game you pay $80 for, I don't think. It's just a game that really is just determined by the fact that it was a very, you know, late PS1 RPG, and it was very rare, and it's you know, very sought after nowadays, pretty much by collectors, I think. I don't think actual people, you know, buy this game to actually play. I think just collectors buy it to collect it. But another thing I wanted to mention was the leveling up system, and this was kind of something I didn't really talk about in the beginning, and I probably should have, but whatever. I'm talking about it now, at least. So, when you level up a character, it's not like you just level up strength, defense, magic, you know, special defense, and then agility and intelligence and all that BS. No. What you have to do is, there's like, you know, you'll collect all these books and they'll give you skills along the way, like first aid, guts, which guts is like, you know, if you get hit, you'll come back, but you'll only come back with like 3 health, but, you know, stuff like that. And there's like different traits and stuff too, like, just, it determines your hero value. That's what the traits determine, and let me kind of explain this element of the game. You know, the point, I was talking about the war in the beginning with the Valkyrie and whatnot, she's recruiting all the people for the army. So you have to send up people with a positive, and I mean super positive, hero value. Like, each chapter she'll give you a requirement for how you want to, you know, you need to get a hero with 110, you know, hero points. He needs to be brave, he needs to be able to, you know, find traps and whatever, and they'll give you like a little list of requirements. But essentially the only thing you have to worry about is the hero points. So, you know, that's another thing you have to spend on your, you know, you'll get like a certain allotment of, I think they're called skill points or combo points or something like that. But you have to spend the certain allotment that you're given per level on, you know, you have to spend it on traits, which I, you know, pretty much maxed out every single person's traits if I use them. You know, there were a lot of characters in this game I didn't use because they suck, so, you know, why use them? You use the beast characters, you don't use the characters that suck. Like, obviously. But, so you have to spend that on traits, you have to spend it on, I was talking about, you know, how you have to find a character that uses find traps and is brave. There's another, like, list of all of those that you can level up, usually to level 8, pretty much. You know, like I said, first aid, and you set that all up in the skill menu. And that's pretty cool, I thought. It's a very unique way of leveling, because it's not just, you level up, oh, okay, I don't need to, you know, do anything about it. Or, you know, you level up and you spend 2 skill points on, you know, a magic attack or something like that. No, this game makes you really think about how you want to spend those points that you're given, because there's a lot of options as to how you want to level up your characters. Fortunately, you probably can almost max out everyone. I maxed out Valkyrie and this other guy, he's like another main character that you get that you can't transfer up. But once you do that, you get their skill points up to, you know, the hero amount up to where it needs to be. You can transfer them up to heaven, or whatever it's called. I'm not too hip on my Norse mythology, I'm sorry, but I just played the game, but I can't fucking remember any of the names for the life of me. And so when you do that, you know, the character's gone forever. So that will help you determine not only how the war is going to go, also, you know, how many material points you're going to get, what ending you're going to get, what items you're going to get from Odin, who's like the, you know, the ultimate Norse god, more or less, just about. Not the ultimate, but like, you know, one of the most well known. So yeah, you wanna level the characters up before you transfer them out, and, you know, but you also want to use characters that are good. So that's another cool thing I thought, was that, you know, you kind of had to find the balance between, okay, is this character going to fit the requirements that I need, and I'm going to get my ass kicked, or, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, a great game, I think. Definitely one of the strongest PS1 RPGs, but not worth $80. I'm sorry, not even close. Wouldn't be, and not even $60. The most I would absolutely pay for this game is $50. I only paid $20, so Diglio was the one who paid $60, but I beat it for him, and I will definitely play it again. I'm not saying it's a bad game, I just think it's a tad you know, overpriced, I think, and I don't even know overrated. I think people, you know, have their mixed opinions about this game. But if you can emulate it, I say emulate it. I don't give a fuck. You know, no one's making money on this game nowadays. The only people that are making money on it are the people, you know, at GameStop when you buy the used copy, or the people on eBay. So just emulate it if you can, or find some other way to play it. But I do want to make a video on the recent bullshit with Capcom, because they have just been striking out, and they've been striking out. So this, you know, the thing with Mega Man Legends 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they have been striking out for a while in my book, Capcom. So I will be sure to give them a fine rant. But I know this wasn't my most clear and concise sort of video. I'm kind of exhausted today from work, but I hope, you know, if this game sounds like it's for you, I think it's worth a shot, just based on the beautiful graphics, and the gameplay is fantastic, and I think the music is good. It does have issues, but I think overall you can definitely find some sort of amusement in this game. Well, hope you enjoyed the new little setup. I think I'm going to keep it this way for a little while, just because it's nice, you know, it's just nice to have a breath of fresh air. Literally, the windows are both right here and right here. But anyways, I'm going to go play Shadows of the Dam. Yes, I did get that, so you will, you know, once I beat that, you'll see a review on that. Wave Dashers has just been, I have not had time to do it. It's just been, I've been pretty busy lately. I'm working 40 hours this week at work, so hence why I'm exhausted. You know, I've worked 4 days in a row now. So, yeah, not my best video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and Team Rival is out.